This is the Horror Scouts podcast, and we are about to review Scream 6. Hey everybody, welcome to the show. I am Mike, one of your hosts and troop leaders, and I am joined, as always, by your other two hosts and troop leaders, Brian.
Hello.
And Nick.
Yo.
And this is episode number 99 of the Horror Scouts podcast. It took us quite a while to get here due to hiatuses. Hiati. It was multiple hiatuses. But yeah, it's still like, holy shit.
That's still a big number.
Yeah.
It's a lot of movies. It's not 99 reviews because back in the day we would do just like standalone chat, campfire talk episodes.
Oh yeah, those were full separate episodes, weren't they?
When we first started, we did both in an episode.
Right.
It was like a review and a chat, and then at some point we alternated.
Okay.
And then when we came back with like Horror Scouts 2.0, it was just all reviews. But we were chatting right before we started recording, and we thought, why the hell not? Let's bring them back for episode 100. So next episode, we're just going to have a casual chat. We'll do a little look back at the past of Horror Scouts, some of our favorite stuff, our least favorite stuff, and little trivia things or whatever. I don't know. Yeah. Just kind of celebrate doing this for this long.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah. But anyway, real quick, there are two ways to check out this show. So you are either watching us on YouTube at youtube.com/@horrorscouts. Hi. Or you're listening on one of your favorite podcast services just by searching Horror Scouts. And also, right off the bat, if you're new here, all of our reviews have full-on spoilers. So if you don't want anything ruined for you with Scream 6, go check it out. Then come on back and see what we have to say and see if you agree with us. Okay. With that said, I don't know. I'm trying to think what's new going on with horror. I was telling you guys before we recorded, it's big, like summer video game week right now. So that's all that's on my brain. And unfortunately, it's been a little disappointing for me personally. Just, I don't know. It seems like everything that's coming out is not in any of the genres I like. But actually, one horror thing, though, that did happen today at the Summer Game Fest showcase. Nick Cage is going to be in Dead by Daylight.
Of course he is.
So for those of you who are not familiar, Dead by Daylight is just this like co-op game where you and some friends are in this location and there's like a killer on the loose and you have to avoid them and like start generators or something to help you escape or something like that. And the game has had a lot of cool tie-ins, like, you know, like all the big like slashers and killers have been part of the game. But now the latest thing is Nick Cage, but he's not the killer. He's just going to be one of the people you can be running away as. But he was actually at the showcase and like came out and did that whole like, I'm going to try and pretend like I know anything about this world and that I'm super excited to see you nerds out in the audience. But
that's so weird.
Yeah, very random celebrity guest this time.
Huh.
Yeah, like that's a weird cash grab, I guess. Like,
yeah, because then they showed like after he was done and left the stage, they showed like footage, and you know it's not as exciting as the new killer. So it's just like this kind of poorly done scan of him just running around with everybody else, and I don't know, whatever. Weird. It just weird. Like that him, it's just weird and random, and sure, why not?
Yep.
And I'm trying to think of other.
Now they could have set it in a National Treasure sort of setting where he's running around with you and you have to solve clues and like escape room style do it while there's a killer on your heels and he murders you if you don't get out in time.
Yeah, right.
That's called Resident Evil.
It makes sense to have Nick Cage in there. Yeah, or like any escape room. But like then it would make sense for Nick Cage to be part of it.
Yeah.
Or have him as the killer a la Mom and Dad, where he's just flipping out and
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
like
Right.
that's why you'd want Nick Cage in a game, to just completely lose his shit and you have to fend him off. Like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
or
Yeah.
that's a superpower. Like he loses his shit. And it's attack mode. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Jeff, the host, was like, so are you playing yourself or a character? And he's like, I'm playing a heightened version of an actor named Nick Cage. So like basically him from what's that movie that just came out with him and Pedro?
Matt,
Yep.
The Unbearable Weight of
massive talent.
Massive Talent. Yeah.
Yep.
So I guess his character at first thinks this is like a role, and like he's not convinced this is actually happening. I don't know, whatever.
This just got too meta.
Yeah. But other than that, I just to plug our Discord, link for the invite in the description. I just posted a handful of new trailers in our little horror trailers tab over there. There's Bird Box Barcelona. So I guess just a spin-off. It seems to be kind of half English, half Spanish.
Okay.
There's a documentary coming out called King on Screen. Documentary about Stephen King. There's a new final trailer for Insidious: The Red Door, which claims to be the finale of Insidious.
Until they spin it off and there's
exactly
side movies.
And a new trailer for Talk to Me. I don't know if you guys saw the first one. That's the one with like the ceramic hand that like people touch in like a little seance situation and they get like possessed and shit. I think it's Australian. I don't know. It's A24.
It's A24, yeah. I've seen a lot of hype about it. I haven't actually watched the trailer because, don't do that.
Yeah.
But I read some articles about it that sound promising.
It looks pretty cool. I mean, I'm always wary of like the very, like a big young cast because I'm an old fart now and it's like, I don't know, but it seems pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I should have been a little wary of Scream, I guess, with the new younger cast. But I don't know if you guys got anything or if we just want to.
I got nothing.
Okay.
Yeah. I got nothing either.
Okay.
I'm looking at, so I clicked on Talk to Me, and it says, I clicked on one of the directors. It says one of his known for is the Babadook, but I don't know in what capacity. Oh, camera and electrical department.
Oh, okay.
So I think this is a feature-length directorial debut.
Ooh, we have good luck with those.
We have pretty good luck with that.
Yeah. So
They're not all hits, but we have pretty good luck with that.
yeah. So
Cool. So let's
Fun
plan
fact.
on doing that one.
Yep.
end of July comes out.
Nice.
Getting there.
All right. So I'm going to close that window so I'm not distracted by it. And let's move on to our review of Scream 6. Again, spoilers. Red flashing lights. Leave now. You don't want anything ruined. Okay, Scream 6. It was written by James Vanderbilt, Guy Busick, and Kevin Williamson. Directed by Matt Bettinelli. Olfen? Oof, a doofa. And Tyler Gillett.
Crushed it.
And the cast, we got a big cast here. We got Melissa Barrera as Sam, Jenna Ortega as her sister Tara, Jasmine Savoy Brown as Mindy, Mason Gooding as Chad, and then we've also got the older end of the group. Courtney Cox is back as Gail Weathers, Hayden Panettiere is Kirby Reed, Dermot Mulroney in all his glory is Detective Bailey. And then we've got Ethan. We've got an alarm going off on my phone because my dog needs medicine. Don't worry, my wife's got it handled. Ethan Landry as Jack, Liana Liberato as Quinn, and Josh Segara as Danny, quote unquote, cute boy from across the hall. And the quick blurb, not that we really need it with a Scream movie, is 4 survivors of the Ghostface murders leave Woodsboro behind for a fresh start in New York City. We got 2 reviews that we've done recently that we have left. Well, one was the woods and one was suburbia, but to head to the city. However, they soon find themselves in a fight for their lives when a new killer embarks on a bloody rampage. Okay, first order of business, just to get a gauge going in here. Yay, nay, or just okay?
I'm going yay. I'll just jump in. There we go. Boom.
Cool.
Me too. Yay.
Yeah, I'm going to go yay. That was fun.
It's not without its problems, but it's
Right.
It's a Scream movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. So, I guess, I don't know, let's do our Scream background real quick. I'm really only familiar with, like, 1 and 2. And then...
Yeah, 5. I skipped 3 and 4.
Okay, yeah, same here.
So we're in the same boat. I have only seen Scream 2 once. I have only seen Scream 5 the time we reviewed it. So I've seen the first one a few times and now this one. But I barely remember 2 except for knife through bathroom door, which I mostly remember because of Scary Movie. And then that's it from that entire movie. And then, the other 3.
I've seen them all. I own them all. I've watched them all. Some more frequently than others, like the first one, obviously. But my memory of 3 is probably the worst, honestly. But I feel like we need like a map of who the killers were and who they were connected to, like a little flow chart. Or
well, I mean, we kind of got that in this movie briefly.
You did
when they're analyzing the board there, and I was like, "Oh, that's helpful," because I missed a few of these.
Yeah, that was super helpful.
Yeah, Nick and I were lucky enough to be together when we watched this one, but we also watched the first one right beforehand because Nick's wife had never seen it.
Oh, how'd that go?
She was fine with it. She enjoyed it. Yeah. I mean, she's gotten much better about watching horror things as of late. I mean, really in the last couple of years. I'd say she probably watches about 60% of what we watch for the show now. But it was just like to have not seen that and be like, yeah, I'll just watch Scream 6 with you guys. Yeah. Like, you kind of need to lay a foundation, and then we can just watch like a 3-minute YouTube recap of number 5. Like, you don't need to rewatch or to watch, I guess, that whole movie to be up to snuff, but you do need to have some understanding of what the franchise is.
It's funny though, because I mean, I feel like she should have seen the first one just because it's a modern classic. But to watch 6, you probably would have better off just watching 5 because it explains 1 through 4, and then you get all the characters that are also in 6.
Yeah, but like 1 was more crucial, I think, and then also I don't want to watch 3 Scream movies back to back to back. Like,
that's fair.
They're enjoyable, but that's a lot.
That's fair.
And like, I feel like just jumping in at 5 where they're talking about the stab movies and the spin-off of everything. And like that movie is so meta, snake eating its own tail sort of thing that I feel like to not have a frame of reference
that's fair.
Go from, it would still be kind of confusing.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. And you probably never find the situation again to be like, oh, hey, remember we wanted to watch the first Scream? Let's watch the first Scream.
Right. Yeah.
So get it out of the way. So, yeah, there's been a long storied history between then and now. We've got this whole new crew. What the hell do they call themselves?
Core 4.
The Core 4.
The Core 4.
So, I don't know how you want to dive into this. I mean, I'm looking at my notes, and I mean, best place to start at the beginning, and which I think is an interesting thing to talk about with these movies, especially with having watched the first one, because half the reason the movie is so memorable and iconic is because of the fake out opening. So I don't remember what they did in 2. I don't know if they kind of done that a bunch, but this movie basically has 2 cold opens.
True.
Because, we start with Samara Weaving and, her being on the date, and she did an excellent job of, like, being awkward. Like, that takes skill to be, like, that awkward as she was. It was pretty good. You know, just at the bar waiting for a date and then going outside and going in the alleyway and getting brutally killed. It's like, okay, cool. Harking back to that like 5 minute just to set the tone, but none of these characters really matter. But then we end up following the killer, who is Tony Revolori from Spider-Man fame. And one of the Wes Anderson films, Grand Budapest Hotel. He was the lobby boy. Anyway.
Oh yeah.
And so we get him, and we think, okay, this is interesting. You're like finding out the killer right off the bat, and he's like talking with his roommate, or he thinks it's his roommate because it's using the voice thing and blah blah blah, which remind me to get back to later, the whole voice changing mechanic. And then he ends up getting killed. So I thought that was a cool little 1-2 punch to get things going.
Yeah, I like that. It successfully had me quasi faked out. Like the cold open didn't. I mean, that's every horror movie at this point. I think probably due in large part to how successful Scream was with that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they didn't advertise Samara, so
right. So you know she's cannon fodder. Yeah. And like that was good. That was successful. But then to just show Ghostface taking off a mask and going about his day, I was like, oh shit, are we going to get this movie from the perspective of Ghostface? Like, could that be a thing that's about to happen? I don't know. I didn't watch a trailer. So I'm like, shit, are we supposed to know who Ghostface is this whole time? That's a really interesting take on it. That could be really fun and different. And then he dies 2 minutes later. And I was like, okay, no, we're back. Got it. But that was cool. Like, it definitely pulled the rug out from under me, probably about as successfully as it could have.
Yeah. And I like setting the tone of the violence level with his roommate in the refrigerator the way he was. Yeah. That was pretty savage.
Even the overkill that he just like repeatedly stabbed Samara Weaving in the stomach just again and again and again was like, this is a lot more overkill than we've seen in any other Scream movie.
Yeah.
Already, between, people cut up in pieces in a fridge and just like, usually it's 1 or 2 really well placed stabs and that's it. And this was just didn't let up.
Mm-hmm. Not only that, his description of it was like off-putting when he's like telling what he thinks is his roommate about, like, she just went from a person to an animal to meat, and every single stab she went less and less and less on that scale. It was like, ugh, Jesus.
I also like that so the whole scene where he's talking to his friend about Samara Weaving's character is Laura. Did we get her last name in? I guess we got it in a news report. Her name is Laura Crane. And as you may have noticed through the series, there's a lot of naming conventions that just reference other horror movies. Mm-hmm. So I'm pretty sure that was a reference to Marion Crane from Psycho. But when she's talking about how Laura that was his movie teacher and gave him a C+ on his Giallo paper. And I was like, 95% of people seeing this movie aren't going to know what a Giallo is, but I love that they threw that in there anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then later name dropped Dario Argento on top of that. But I was amused. I had to explain to my friend Rich what a Giallo was because he saw my amusement and didn't get it, but that just proves my point.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And who's watching Jason Takes Manhattan. Friday the 13th movie was on the TV. Like, this movie's so full of things like that. I watched it again today, actually, because I had watched it over a week ago. So nice. I was trying to pick up a lot more of those little things.
Yeah. I mean, to jump ahead, just to reference that, like the whole subway scene on Halloween.
Oh, yes.
So many.
So many.
Counting them as they go by. Like old school classic stuff, but also like Us was in there.
Yeah. And actually, there's a lot more in there too, which we can talk to you later. We're going to get further into that. I was reading a lot of the trivia on this, and they went like deep into filling that train with characters. But yeah,
that's cool. So yeah, we've got. So this is supposed to take place a year.
It's a year later. Yeah.
Later, yeah. So now everyone's in the city. We've got the two sisters kind of butting heads a little bit because Tara, played by Jenna, like wants to just like do her thing, but Sam is a little more traumatized by the whole event and doesn't want to give Tara any slack. We also got her visiting her therapist, which doesn't go well, and he gets like freaked out when he finds out like who she is and what she did.
Yeah, some horror fan he is. You did see that, right, on his side table. So if you watch again that scene when they're looking at the doctor, his cabinet thing on the left is filled with little horror figures. I think a lot of them are the ones that look like those little knit characters. I forgot what they're called, but there was a whole ton of them on there. And then there's a couple creepy figures in the cabinet behind him. One of them is a little Pazuzu looking, but not quite. But then also when Sam gets up and you see the fireplace, there's two more of those little figures on the mantle, one of which is Leatherface.
Oh, cool.
And then, later in the movie, he's watching
right, I remember that.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah.
And I think there's a couple horror things behind him too. So yeah, some horror fan he is.
Yeah, he's got an overactive imagination when it comes to that stuff. So he's like, "Oh my god, there's one in my office."
Yeah, right. I think he'd be more interested at that point. No.
I don't know. Do you guys have like a preference on how we kind of approach this, or just kind of move through it? My notes are very linear.
My notes are always linear because I write things down as I watch the movie, and then I make like general notes when I'm done. Mm-hmm. So we can just go through.
Okay. I feel like there was a good amount of like humor in here and like actually good funny lines. And then there was stuff that was unintentionally funny, like Dermot's whole performance.
What do I know him from?
A lot of things.
Yeah, I haven't gone and scrolled through his IMDb.
Was he in like
I'm not going to now while we're recording, but like he was
super
familiar, but I couldn't place why. He feels like he would have been in some sort of like NYPD Blue CSI, New York, Miami, something,
or like the dad on some like CW type show.
I mean, he was in a lot of TV series. He was,
okay. Yeah.
I can't think off the top of my head what you're thinking of. He was in. Did either of you watch Shameless?
Yep.
He was in 23 episodes of Shameless as Sean Pierce.
He was.
I mean, that's probably why I recognize him. I can't place that name. That's probably.
I didn't watch Shameless, but
was he the boss at the diner? No.
He was in Insidious Chapter 3.
Yeah, I'll go do some digging later.
Yeah, he's been in a ton of things.
Okay. But one of the good jokes I have from early on is like when Sam finds out that Tara's at that frat party and goes and Tara's just in a I don't care what sort of happens mood. I'm going to follow the senior up the stairs to his bedroom or whatever. And then like Chad tries to stop him and stuff, but then Sam's there with her taser. She says, I'm just going to tase you in the balls real quick.
Yeah. It was so quick and well executed.
Yeah. God.
Yeah. Ow. Yeah, I thought just like you were talking about the humor and like even going to the party, then the characters seemed realistic enough and like a close-knit family group. Mm-hmm. Like none of, at least I can remember, none of their lines really made me like cringe or be like, oh, no one would say that. Like it seemed real enough. especially considering everything they've gone through.
Right. Yeah, it's funny. The roommate was like a caricature, a very, this is the goofy roommate or the goofy best friend sort of thing. But it's like, it's on purpose because, we find out that she's one of our 3 killers now. So that was kind of a good.
Yeah, like that whole relationship between the roommates. I mean, heavy spoilers in the beginning, being family. Like, how do you carry that ruse on? Like, 'cause they lived with them for months, seeming to harbor no ill will, going to parties, having fun, being conversational, whatever. Well, like, also planning for months to kill them. Like,
I mean, I think that's part of being a sociopath.
I guess so. Just like that. Yeah, but I feel like sociopath doesn't really work in this case because they are, it's obviously very premeditated, but they're grieving family. They're not just like, they didn't wake up one day and be like, you know what I want to be? A serial killer. Like, like they have a quasi justifiable reason, as twisted and wrong as it may be. Like, it's not like she didn't start off killing animals.
Right. Okay. Like, so just generally psychotic.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Like that just strikes me as challengingly weird to just live with somebody you're planning on murdering for months on end and dropping no hints of being like, not even having any sort of disdain for them at all. No.
Yeah, that's one like kind of a weird thing that I feel like has gotten stale with this franchise is that whoever's been wrong, and it's always like a family member or something, they are willing to go absolutely insane to kill people and also do it under the mask, essentially, instead of like everyone's willing to play along with this unspoken thing.
Well, but wasn't 4? I don't think it was 5. Wasn't it 4 where they were doing it for like the fame? It was like a blame social media thing. They were going to get so many likes and like such popularity over these 15 minutes.
Okay, yeah, I don't know.
Didn't you?
We didn't see 4.
You guys got 3 or 4.
I liked 4. I mean, because it was this, long awaited 4, but it broke into that new generation of stuff with the social media and everything. And I don't think the 2 of them had. Someone might correct me on this, but I don't think either of the 2 killers had a direct connection to, one of the previous killers, but their motives were a little different. 5, obviously, they had some connection, but yeah, I guess your guess is like, okay, who's connected and why and how, and this was a little different because they weren't. Now the connection to the original killers is actually the main character as opposed to the killer, so that's the twist, right. I guess. I mean, we'll see what Scream 7 brings.
Right. They certainly kept everyone around to do it. Yeah, it's like, oh, you thought 2 of the core 4 were dead? Nah, they're fine. They'll just walk right back on screen.
Okay, yeah. So now, since you've brought that up already, let's bring up one of the problems I had. Too many survivors. And not just too many survivors. They did the whole rules thing, which I always enjoy that scene. I know it's coming every time, but I enjoy it. And they're usually very accurate. But 2 of the rules, actually 3 of the rules are, one is subverting the expectations, right? Like everything you can do is now just flipped on its head. Everything's free, yay, whatever. All right, so that can kind of explain why there's so many survivors. But the next rule is no one is safe. Legacy characters, cannon fodder at this point. She literally says. Yet Gale and Kirby survive when especially Gale should be dead.
Do we know, or it was left open-ended with Gale?
No, they said when Cute Boy, I think, said it when they were toward the end or something, that she was doing fine. That's when the other friend was on her way there. They couldn't hold her any longer.
Oh, okay.
The one who got gutted on the subway and also probably should be dead.
Yeah.
But then the last rule, she notes that main characters are completely expendable now. But literally all the main characters survive. Which I guess goes back to the other rule about the subverting expectations, but like,
Yep.
that's not what she meant when she said the rule.
Right. Yeah.
So I really wanted Gil to die.
Yeah.
Like this would have been the time to not have any legacy characters left. And what good is she anymore?
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. Was Kirby, was she from a previous one?
Kirby was from 4.
Okay.
And became a fan favorite for some reason. And I think it was kind of left open. We didn't know if she lived or died.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's how it was left. So I was reading in the trivia that they wanted to bring her back in 5, but they literally couldn't find her. Like the directors and crew. So this random reason I know this. She was on the cover of some magazine we got accidentally. It was like some women's fitness thing or Vogue or some shit. So I was like, oh, I know her. And it is accidentally. It's from...
I didn't say anything.
Audio listeners, Nick didn't say anything.
Didn't say shit.
There's 2 or 3 magazines we get from a previous resident. But at any rate, she had a kid and there was like some medical complications and she had some mental health issues and then she was like taking care of her child, whatever. So she like kind of left acting for a while. She was dealing with some stuff and I guess that's why they literally couldn't find her. But yeah, so she was in 4 and that's where she said that's where she got stabbed there and whatever. And that's why we didn't know her fate. And we knew she was coming back in this movie. We just didn't know in what capacity or how, because she didn't really have as deep a connection as the other characters did. So it's interesting to bring her back as a FBI agent.
Yeah. An FBI agent, like you just said, who's like super quick and willing to just like lift her shirt and be like, yeah, look at my scar from when I got stabbed. It's so weird.
I guess at that point you got to own it.
Yeah.
This is why I'm here.
Yeah.
And now she's going to have an even bigger scar there since it got reopened in the fight scene. Yeah.
I know so many people got stabbed in the side and lived and walked around and ran around afterwards. And
well, that leads into my other problem with this movie is how they dealt with injuries. And by they, I mean the writers. Like, fuck me. Are you kidding? There's none of... The most realistic one, I think, was... I keep forgetting her actual name. Mindy getting caught on the arm. And her, like, the pain there, that was realistic. But also... her girlfriend, who was getting gutted, had about the same reaction and also lived far too long.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
she shouldn't have been able to get up and walk.
No. And then Mindy's even saying how she's losing so much blood, but yet she's on all 4s trying to go across the ladder without her guts literally spilling out of her.
Yeah.
And actually being able to move. Like, there's a couple of problems right there.
That scene bothered me pretty much more than anything else in the movie. It's like, just hug the ladder. Just grab it, man. You're fine. You would have been A-okay. He's got a short reach. Like,
I didn't even think about that, but it was more the fact that she managed to get on the ladder.
Oh, right. She never should have gotten that far. That should have been like you go first, I'll be right there on the other side. He busts into the room, kills her there. Big gory thing. They're watching through the window, helpless to do anything about it.
Yeah.
That's how that would have been good and clean. If you get her onto the ladder, you have to find a way to make the ladder fall.
Yeah.
Right.
And that has to be how you kill her. I don't know how you do that because you got 3 people hanging onto the ladder on the other side of the building. So, like, even if you pushed it out the window, they could have held onto it and held her up. But, like, to just bounce the ladder until she lets go and falls, like, I mean, ladders are known for being good things to hang on to. It's literally their function. Like, that didn't work for me. Put 2 arms through. Now you're laying on it. You're not going anywhere. Yeah. You're not getting bounced off of that shit.
Yeah, I was waiting for I think it was a missed opportunity. Like they just had her like bounce off and fall to the ground. Like, yeah, okay, a big fall is gruesome, but
I mean, her smashing that dumpster on the way down, I did not expect.
That was gnarly.
Yeah.
but
I definitely let out a
Yeah, and then close up on the face was
that was gross. But I feel like they missed an opportunity for Ghostface to somehow kill her or knock her out while she was halfway across the building. So for those of you who haven't seen, this is not your normal ladder situation. The ladder is pretty much a bridge between two apartment buildings, like however many stories up. So like something should have happened to her where she like just kind of collapsed on the ladder, and yes, her guts should have been hanging like for 3 stories or something, you know. Just like
small intestine dangling there.
Yeah, let's see how long intestines really are.
Oh, that would have been good.
Yeah, because
I mean, they could have easily, like, just dealing with ladders and, you know, trying to drop it. They very easily could have, since they used a fire escape ladder, like one of those ones that you keep in your house that like is telescoping, that could have just been a weak joint on one of them, and as he's bouncing it could have broken on the friend side of things where she fell head first down with him holding the ladder, and then he has control of what her fate is. Like there was a way to separate ladder with falling from friends, and they didn't.
You also have when Ghostface gets smacked in the face with a 12-inch cast iron by Gale Weathers,
dude.
It gets back up.
Everybody gets hit in the face in this movie. Everybody gets absolutely clobbered and then continues about their day like it didn't happen.
Yeah.
It's like that. You're down for the fucking count. Well, you are absolutely out cold if you get hit in the face that hard with a cast iron fucking pan.
Yeah, you're having broken cheekbones and shit. Like, and
that mask should have been red on one side of it.
I know, like the obvious retort to that is just like, well, you know, it's a horror movie, people need to get hurt or whatever. But for Scream specifically, Scream was like the first movie where the villain like easily got like tripped or knocked over or whatever. Like it doesn't have to be that forceful. You know, you open the refrigerator door and hit him in the nose and he falls over. You know, like Ghostface has always been clumsy and human, you know. So to go that far was just save it for the extra gruesome stuff.
Right, but what also makes that scene more frustrating is when you realize that was Quinn chasing Gale around. Who, not saying a girl has to be the weakest character. Let's face it, her brother was, no jacked up guy. But like, she shows up later. She loses her teeth when she gets smacked with a brick.
Yes, that was cool.
That's realistic. But the cast iron didn't leave a bruise. I mean, fucking Gale didn't even have a little bruise from getting clocked by Tara. Like, could have put a little extra makeup on there, something that could look like that happened.
Yeah, which they did do in the first one when she got punched in the face by Sydney.
Yeah. Right.
The next time you see her, she's got like extra makeup on to cover it. Like they easily could have done that again because they have before.
Yeah. That was another one of the fun jokes. Like she dodges the punch and then Tara comes in and gets her instead. That's great.
Yeah. Sorry about punching you. No, you're not.
She's like, yeah.
But then Tara in the final scene gets stabbed in the left shoulder, in the back of the left shoulder, shot in her left tricep, and stabbed in the stomach when she drops down from the balcony. Yet when they're all out by the ambulance, her arm is in a sling, and she's up walking around. Like, I can almost give her a little bit of adrenaline to sit there and talk. Adrenaline's still there when she's sitting talking to her sister before the cops come. But like, no, bitch, you're on a stretcher. You got a gunshot wound, a stab wound, and 2 stab wounds. One of it's in your stomach. You're not walking around. No. Like, sure, you can hear Mindy saying how much drugs she's on. She can't feel anything from her shoulder down. She knows she's not supposed to be up, so they at least try to justify that. But like, they just completely ignore Tara's injuries.
Yeah, the better way to have done like the reunion of the core 4 at the end there wouldn't have been as like a post-mortem at the crime scene. It would have been when they brought in the stretchers with everybody else into like the same room,
Yeah.
and then Sam, the only still standing member, comes in and joins them, and they all do like a core four from their beds. Like
Yes.
that. Like, okay, they all survived, but you're all in really rough shape for it. You've all been stabbed multiple times.
Yeah.
That like you could have still had everybody have their "Hey, we survived" victorious moment, but instead of outside, it could have been at a hospital.
Yeah, I would.
Because like Mindy didn't do anything when she got there. She was just outside, right? She didn't.
She showed up after the fact of how
Yeah.
she figured out who the two killers were, but she missed the one. She missed the monologue. Haha.
Right. So like
Oh,
she
yeah.
didn't have to be there
No.
for that scene. It didn't have any bearing on it.
No.
No.
It was just so the core four were there.
There were
Yeah.
a bunch of hospital scenes in the previous one, though, right? I remember Jenna being in a hospital bed.
Yeah.
Maybe they just wanted to
Yeah.
avoid that visual again. Also, this is just I always do this and think about like possible things on the production side that affect a movie, and it's all hypotheticals, and I'll never fucking know. But like we were saying earlier about like, oh, the Core Four made it, even though we talked about how main characters can clear. There's no rules, and I wonder if Mindy or the brother, but mostly Mindy, maybe was supposed to be killed, but because of her popularity on Yellow Jackets, they're like, oh no, we have to keep her around. Because like the whole movie, I'm just like, oh, that's young Thaisa. Like I couldn't get her, and her hair was shorter because she had done that show. It was like I can't not see it. So
I mean, yeah, I guess that could be, but that doesn't explain why Gail and Kirby survive.
yeah,
I mean, Kirby
Right.
had she got shot, she got beaten, and there's something else happened to her. I don't even remember. And Chad, like he became a fucking pincushion.
yeah.
Yeah. There's
But
no
so-
way Chad was surviving that.
He got stabbed as much as freaking Samara Weaving did in the opening of the movie, like
Yeah,
Yeah.
by two people at once. Like no,
yeah, all in the back, like lower backside. So maybe they didn't get his chest, get his heart, but he's gonna be like bleeding a
Yeah,
lot.
he has no kidneys left.
yeah.
No.
Like
I mean, maybe he'll be like wheelchair bound with an oxygen tank in the next movie, but like maybe you should have just killed him. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple other injuries that were not taken as seriously as they should have been, but yeah, some of those are just real bad, and it's very, like you said, that's what hurts more is that they didn't play that cliche quite as hard in the older movies, especially the original three. I'm sure people got injured, walked off a little more than they should have, but like this took it to a whole nother fucking level.
Speaking of injuries, a lot of people got stabbed in the face in this movie.
Yeah,
Like I think there was 3 major ones. Yeah, there was. The doctor got his head slammed on the wrought iron, quote unquote, screen door at his house, which was cool, and then stabbed basically like next to his nose.
yeah. Which, by the way, can you do that?
I'm sure if you do it hard enough.
I know those are solid buck knives, but like that's hefty
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I mean,
bone.
maybe in the nose, now the angle.
They said they got stabbed in the nose. I wonder if it was angled to go in the nasal cavity because you
Yeah.
can't go through that cheekbone.
Yeah.
I'm not going to try it, but like it doesn't.
yeah, right.
I can't imagine.
I'm not Mythbusters in that one.
And then we've got, I don't remember if it was if it was Dermot or his son Jack that got stabbed like right in the mouth.
Son. Yeah, it was Ethan or whatever his actual name was. Yeah, he
Yeah.
got, and then she turned it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
pretty gruesome.
I feel like they did that gag twice though, right? Turning the knife.
Yeah, someone had it turned in their guts.
Maybe it was the opening.
Oh, it was right in the beginning. It was Samara.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then someone got stabbed in the eye.
That was
Dermot.
Detective Bailey. Yeah,
Yeah.
Dermot. Yeah. I didn't even have time to flinch. You didn't see that coming. Right into the eye socket.
Yeah.
Like whole blade in his skull.
Okay, one thing I want to make sure we do not miss, which is probably my favorite part of the movie, which was ruined by the trailers, but we get Ghostface with a shotgun in this movie.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
cool. Like, hey,
That was
he's a
great.
human being, and he's trying to kill people at whatever's necessary, and
Yep.
he now has a shotgun at his disposal. That bodega scene was really cool.
That was a great scene. Aside from the fact he shot someone with a sawed-off shotgun at point blank with one hand, and his arm absorbed the entire shock of that and didn't move. But, you know, besides that, like,
Good movies.
yeah, you're not Schwarzenegger. But no, that scene was cool. And actually, here's a fun fact about that bodega. They zoom out on it at the end. It was called Abe's Snake, which you might have thought was a weird name. Mm-hmm. It's a reference to a pseudonym, Abe Snake, which was Wes Craven used when he directed adult films in the 70s.
Oh, shit. That's funny.
Yeah, there's more about that. But the idea actually came from one of the members of the band Ice Nine Kills, who's all horror themed. And I don't love their music. I like that they're horror themed. And there was a flyer or something for them on the refrigerator in the opening sequence in What's-His-Face's apartment.
Oh, cool.
Jason's apartment. Yeah, he apparently knew this and had the idea, and they threw it on the bodega. So that's a very niche. If you know, you know.
That is the Granville Postmaster's favorite band.
Is there? You did tell me this.
Yeah,
I need to try them again because they host like a horror convention. Like,
yeah, they're a Massachusetts band. They host a big horror convention every year, and it's very similar to the Rock and Shock Fest that takes place also in Massachusetts and Worcester, which is like, you know, a 3-day convention that is metal bands and horror con in central Worcester. They do one that's a little more out towards the Boston end of the state. I think it's only 1 day, maybe 2 days, but it's, you know, one ticket will get you into like, you know, 6 or 7 band lineup and a full horror con.
Cool. Very cool.
One of these days I should do one of those. Seems like something I should have done by now.
We should probably do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should.
Another note that I had about that scene, which it was cool editing, was that, you know, it might have had like some music in the beginning or something, but then it obviously gets real quiet because they're trying to hide from him and sneak around the aisles, and, you know, don't step on a piece of glass, it's going to make noise. But just the subtle radio that was playing in the bodega is just still going, you know, and it's just almost like this, its own little character, just like oblivious to what's going on. I'm just going to keep going. It was, that was cool.
That was a nice detail.
What else? I'm looking at my other notes. I guess this must have been the scene where the roommate, quote unquote, died and got killed by Ghostface. They run into the kitchen. Must have been Sam runs into the kitchen to grab a knife out of the knife block, and all the knives are gone. It's like, oh fuck, someone took the knives. So she just grabs the whole knife block and just throws it at him and hits him in the head.
That was great, but she took too long to hit the block. As soon as she touched the block, both Rich and I went, just take the block. You can beat him with it, which she eventually does. But this goes to my other thing, and I know this is with every horror movie, but it especially bothers me here. They all lived in a horror movie. They all studied horror movies in this class, slasher movies specifically. Apparently nobody has watched Zombieland or paid attention of what not to do in slasher movies because nobody hit the person more than fucking once. The entire movie. And we had a discussion at a different time where, like, okay, maybe depending on the situation, you don't just kill him on the first try. Right. Not in a Scream movie. This guy's clearly out to kill anyone in his path. So you get that knife block, you hit him, you keep hitting him till you know he's down. Right. When Gail's holding a frying pan, maybe hit him again with the frying pan, don't put it back on the stove. Like, there are so many scenes, like even with Chad, before he's getting stabbed, he starts kicking, I don't know which one of them it is, and like kind of beating him, and then like goes, run. It's like, how about you just fucking curb stomp him till he can't get up, and then you run? Like, it was so infuriating. So infuriating.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, at the end they do what they have to do, but like they wait till it's literally, they don't have any other choice. There's nowhere to run. But I mean, the whole apartment scene. Where are you running? There's only so many rooms, and guess what? You're running to a ladder. You're crawling across to the boyfriend we don't know you have's apartment. Like that didn't end well for one of the characters. There's so much of that. It infuriates me.
Yeah. It's tough to, we're obviously we're sticklers when it comes to that. It's tough when it comes to like, some movies you feel like, yeah, you should have followed some logic, and then other ones it's like, well, it's Scream.
And even some characters, like if, maybe it wasn't Mindy's thing, fine. But like Chad is literally kicking the guy. And for Sam or Tara, like especially Sam, who walks around with mace and tased a random guy on the balls, like you think beating Ghostface to death she'd be like looking to do, which is actually part of the plot, right? Like how much she liked killing and is afraid of it, and that's why she's in therapy. It's a great thing to explore. Like I like that they kept that going a little bit, but like maybe she's not giving into it, but like kill the fucking guy. The first thing she went to do, actually, when they were going to leave New York, was grab a knife. Like, that's not just self-defense purposes, right? That's what your mace is for. So, like, you had plans.
So, one piece of lore that they've introduced, which is very interesting, is that apparently ghosts or spirits of the dead age at the same age their actors do.
Right? Yeah.
They tried so hard, but there's only so much you can do.
Well, it's like they easily, like Nick said it out loud when we were watching it. It's like, why not just de-age Skeet? Like,
right. Like they do that in so many movies now, and CGI has gotten very good. You're just showing him in like a weird reflection on a glass case. Like it doesn't have to be the best CG you've ever seen. Just give it a go. Because ghosts don't age. That doesn't work.
Yeah. I wonder if it's just more of like, hey, we got him. And it's, if it was de-aged, it was like, maybe we didn't even get him for it. We just did it without him. But yeah.
Yeah.
But who cares? We don't care.
The only other note I have that was just like a very cool moment, because we were like making jokes about it when we were watching it, or I think we started with the first movie. We were making jokes about how Ghostface is always wiping the knife off, and in this movie they have the double, like
I love
the
that.
synchronized wipe. That was very funny.
So good.
That was so good.
So good. Love
was that after they were stabbing Chad?
Chad. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
I was going through all the photos on IMDb. There's like 300 of them or something, just to find some images to make our little, our thumbnail and our Instagram posts and everything. And I think there's a production photo of like the whole cast, like standing with a knife, like looking like they're doing that. Yeah.
That's great.
Did you notice that Ghostface and then later Sam, or was it Tara? I think it was Tara, actually. They like stabbing in the top of the shoulder, like by the neck. But like, hasn't anyone in these movies figured out that's not a kill zone? Like, you might not be dead if you do that, unless you're going in at the right angle. Because guess what? Everybody who got stabbed there got up. Everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Because like Ghostface kept doing it, and then I think it was Tara did it, and it's like, oh, guess what? They got up. Like, maybe I get the downward stabbing motion, an easy place to hit, but I don't know. Downward stab in the chest, like side of the neck. Nick might not like it, but guess what? It's going to be effective.
Thanks. Yeah. I'm good.
I did like when Sam though was stabbing Bailey, and he had the vest on, and she just went everywhere around the vest, like in his arms and the top of his chest. Like, that was good.
Yeah, that was very cool. I mentioned it earlier, and I don't want to forget. My thing with the voice changer.
Mm-hmm.
I was saying this to Paul while we were having dinner. Like, I realize it's part of the franchise and it's iconic. It's the voice. It's just like, you know, like Jigsaw or something. But
Right.
nowadays, like, everyone who uses it sounds the same because there's a voice actor who does the voice, regardless of who's actually in movie using it, you know, and he's very good and he has this great cadence and he's still nailing it all these years later. But if this franchise started today, that would make sense because there'd be an app that you speak into and everyone's voice sounds exactly the same. It sounds like the output of the app. But when this started back with Skeet and what's his name, it was like a handheld battery operated thing.
Mm-hmm.
But still, from that all the way through, it's always the same voice, which is, it just irks me a little bit. I'm like, not everyone's going to sound the same. I mean, we'll forget.
Yeah, like a female voice would sound different going through that.
Like everyone's voice would be changed in a similar way, but not sound like the same exact person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's funny, actually. I agree, though. I feel like in using the battery-operated voice recording thing, most definitely, in using the app, I don't know how fast it could process it, but it could literally record your voice and play it back in that voice, but then it wouldn't be in real time. So, like,
good point.
Can't really do that. I mean, these things are fast, but it'd be a little delayed at the very least. But what's funny is they use it, but they never, in even talking in person, sometimes, very few cases actually. I think when they killed Jason, and then at the end when Sam used it, but otherwise I think most of the talking where we hear the voices over the phone, which makes sense because there can't be a running around holding the thing.
Right.
Like, assuming they're still using the same voice recording thing from the 90s.
Yeah, exactly. It makes sense in this movie because they have the collection. They've got everything, so sure. But I don't know about from 2 through...
Right.
You know.
Maybe the masks have evolved and they just have like a Bane-style thing in front of it that is just that voice changer.
That's
just when you buy it off the shelf at the Halloween store, they all have that built into it, so everybody sounds identical.
Which I thought that was a little funny bit that they showed on the news, like Ghostface masks are flying off the shelves, and the anchors are like, "Do you have yours?" I sure do. It's like, good job, America. That's
yeah, it's so fucked up.
To it. It is. It was a great dig. So I have to ask though, who did either of you figure out who the killers were before they revealed? Because I had it very wrong.
Oh no, I didn't even try because I knew these movies try so hard to throw you in so many directions.
Yeah, I generally don't like to try to figure out big twists. Like whenever I'm watching a detective type movie thing, I'm not trying to figure out who the bad guy is because like if I get it too early, I'm going to be bummed and it's not fun to get a big twist reveal. So I really just go like fucking tabula rasa there, just blank slate, let it wash over me. So nope, no clue. I mean, I did notice roommate whose name I can't remember. The dude.
Oh, Ethan.
No, the other one, Ethan. Like after that first big attack scene, I was like, huh, Ethan was never there for any of that. But then, I was in
econ,
studying for econ or whatever. There were hundreds of people and like, they kind of all let that go. And I was like, all right, that's pretty easy to check legit alibi. I guess I'll believe him.
Right.
I don't know any better. So like I did very briefly suspect him, but then kind of wrote it off because, he seemed pretty weak and I couldn't imagine what his motive would have been. So I let that one go. I didn't try to figure out the other two.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know there was going to be 3. I think they did a good job with, at least for a while with Kirby. Like it did seem a little suspect. She randomly showed up and he asked, check her out. But like when he finally tells Sarah, I think it was, that, it's Kirby, she was let go from the FBI like 2 months ago, whatever. If you're paying attention, if she was let go from she was in seemed to be an FBI van doing tracing. I guess that could have been the NYPD van and not her equipment, I guess. But like,
right.
So like, it was kind of believable, but that was my first call out, and then I added to my note, and I was wrong. Ethan seemed too easy, so I dismissed him, and turns out that was wrong. And it's funny because Quinn, you don't see that much throughout the movie. You see her a bunch in the beginning, and then she's not hanging much with the group, especially after they do the the rules, the rule spiel. Which, you should guess her at that point, but
but she dies almost
that's
immediately
true.
after that.
Yeah.
So it's pretty easy to okay, well,
that's true.
Her storyline's wrapped up.
That's right.
She's dead.
Yep. And then there's
she's the next kill after the rules.
Yeah. And then there's
I had originally suspected Cute Boy, but then he's in this scene with them with the ladder. In that next scene where Quinn is dying originally when Ghostface is in the house, and it's like, okay, well, obviously it can't be him. He's helping them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what led me to think, okay, it's got to be Ethan, because Quinn died. The rest of them are crossing a ladder or getting gutted. And Cute Boy's there with them. So the only character that we so far really know is Ethan, and he's not here. So it's got to be him. But then they did a pretty good job misdirecting me right after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny how they started the whole franchise with it was 2 people and not 1. That seems like a sequel sort of situation.
Right.
So every movie you're like, fuck, it's not going to be that easy to figure it out because it could easily be more than it could be 2. It turns out this one's 3.
Yeah, I think it was 3 was the only one that had 1 killer. That's why there were 9.
it would have been kind of fun as a twist reveal for that latter scene, since we all know, being a Scream movie, there's probably going to be 2 killers. To okay, you shake her off and she falls, and what's that? Another Ghostface at the bottom of the alley, just standing there, Statue of Liberty style, with a knife in the air, just waiting for her to topple onto it. And it's oh shit, we crossed the alley, we're looking at Ghostface, and we're still not safe.
Yeah.
We all know there's going to be 2. It would have been kind of fun to just have 2 chasing them the entire time.
That's true.
And then the big twist could have been, shit, there's a 3rd.
Right.
But,
yeah, because Dermot was never...
He was never in the costume.
It was always his kids. Yeah.
Yeah, 3 killers, but only 2 Ghostface.
Right. Yeah. Right. Who... This lair that was set up, which I like that set. That was really cool.
Yeah,
the
that was
movie theater museum thing. But it's pretty... To have the audacity to have Ghostface graffiti in the alleyway that leads up to your front door, that's fucking ballsy.
Yeah.
Or stupid, but they just put an arrow Ghostface Museum this way.
I know. I was I really like that set too, and all the capes and the masks on. It looks like Batman's lair, and all his costumes and shit.
I was thinking Batman or Iron Man even.
Yeah. But then
all the mocks.
I laughed because one of them, or maybe a few of them, have a knife on a pole in there, as part of the whole ensemble, and which she actually grabs one, which is what she kills Dermot with, but it has blood on it, and it just kind of made me chuckle. I was like, that would not have blood on it. Someone would have cleaned that off.
Yeah.
Not if it was evidence.
Yeah.
Right?
The ghost face that used it clearly would have made sure that was nice and clean. But
right. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. But I do like how they explained and gave a reason how someone could have all of this stuff, because it was a cop that was involved to grab all the evidence, and he's like, evidence can go missing real easily, and blah 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 blah. So
Yeah.
That was cool. And just to see the old props, like the TV, the fucking...
I saw that in a horror movie once. Yeah, that was...
that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, where are we led to believe the original town is located? She says Michigan, but that's a lie, right? Do we know?
I don't know.
I feel like we should know this.
I can't even remember the name of the original town
Woodsboro.
right now. I'm blanking on it. Woodsboro, thank
Yeah,
you.
Woodsboro. So the real Woodsboro, let me look up Woodsboro Scream.
Fictional. Most of the Scream action
California.
scenes. Yeah, California.
Yeah, they moved literally across the country.
Okay. Because I kind of had a problem with that, and I just wrote it off as being like, well, maybe they were a suburb of New York City. So you get this doesn't track. Like, so you're in California, you escape being murdered by a dude, you move randomly, throw a dart at a map to New York City and relocate and go to school there, where his whole family happens to be, his dad is a cop in that city, ends up on your case. They explain the roommate lottery thing and whatnot. Just like, what are the fucking odds that you move across the country and directly to the city of the family of the dude that you killed? Like, well, the odds of that are probably literally zero. And then on top of that, saying, yeah, he's a cop, evidence goes missing, whatever. Evidence in fucking California goes missing. How does it end up in New York? And how is a cop in that precinct not the number one suspect for who might be Ghostface at that point? Like, to have been slowly taking all of the Ghostface stuff off the market and hoarding it away, if it's in evidence, clearly it's got to be a cop doing it. It's not going missing any other way. So, like, that is all a little bit too convenient that you kind of just have to be like, it's a Scream movie. It's fine. Well, it's okay.
I mean, this easily could have been fixed by saying he was a cop in Woodsboro or somewhere near Woodsboro in California, and they followed them out there.
Yeah, he transferred.
Like, he transferred or something, because that's believable, and the kids applied for school there, like, to make it all believable. But they never did say that.
Never in there, though. It's just, cool, we're in New York, and this is the cop on the case, and it's my roommate's dad, and okay. Sure. Sure. He got all the evidence from California to New York. It's set up in like a warehouse, and nobody's questioning the guy who's requesting evidence. I have a hard time with that one.
Yeah. Yep.
It's fair.
Yeah.
But also, nobody knows the evidence is missing because they're closed cases, and he's just selling it out or sneaking it out.
Yeah, that's just like, it's a lot. It's like,
I'm not saying it's not. I'm just trying.
Decades worth of serial killer paraphernalia going missing. Like, TVs aren't small.
I was going to say, everything would have been fine, but that big TV.
Yeah, you could sneak out a mask or two, maybe a knife or two, but 9 of everything, and then the clothes of all the victims and fucking televisions and come on, no way. Mm-hmm. There's a warehouse of Scream paraphernalia somewhere in some precinct near Woodsboro, and it's empty. The fucking pod shows up in New York City, just labeled Scream shit. As we're wrapping up here, the fucking post-credit scene. The best post-credit scene that there ever has been.
Yes.
So good. Just going back to the reading of the rules, just very quick, 1 second. Not every movie needs a post-credit. Black. Perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was extremely well played.
Yeah. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. With that, I'm sorry. I can't stop yawning.
Yeah, dude. I'm sorry. I've been doing it the entire time. I've been trying to stifle it.
Me too.
But...
it's been a long day being disappointed by video games for me. All right. So unless there's any big things you want to talk about, we can move on to merit badges. If you're new around these parts,
do it.
We'd like to hand out merit badges for things we thought that a film did well. If you're watching the YouTube version of the show, our current list of badges is now on the bottom of the screen under our faces. So, let's start picking some. I think since this is number 6 in a franchise, we have to agree. We've got... You good?
Yeah, sorry.
That's fine. I just want to make sure Ghostface isn't busting down your door. We've got successful sequel.
Yeah.
100%.
Yep.
What else we got?
Yeah. Brian, if you got one jumping, go for it. Yeah, right? Like I don't know that any of it is like it's there's a lot of blood and gore, but is it like blood and gore horror movie?
Yeah, there was a lot of things that were really that were good. The acting was good, directing was good, the editing was good. The lore made sense up until the cop discussion moments ago.
Yeah, sorry.
But I don't know if any of it's exceptional.
I was going to say blood and gore. I thought it was, between...
All right.
I guess for a slasher flick, it's...
Right. For a Scream slasher flick.
Yeah.
This is more... I know they've all been rated R, but Scream as a franchise to me feels very PG-13. Mm-hmm. It's not over the top. They allude to the whole... I mean, there's long discussions in the first one about the virgin living to the end and how sex is wicked taboo, but they very carefully don't really ever go there. Mm-hmm. Like so many other slasher flicks do. It's, very tame in comparison. And then most of the kills in the other ones are you get one stab to the throat and that's it. And they cut away from it and move on. This is overkill as far as a Scream goes. So I think in context of what it is, I could give it a blood and gore.
Yeah. That's fine.
Compared to, fucking so many other movies we've watched. No.
Right.
But
yeah,
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
It was good at a lot of it. The acting is good. I don't know if it's exceptional.
Right.
The writing is good, but we found a whole bunch of plot holes. Directing, cinematography, and editing were all fine, but not mind
blowing.
To write home about.
Right.
I didn't think. Yeah, they were great. I'm not complaining about any of it, but nothing that I'm dude, you have to watch this movie because of the fucking directing. I don't know. I think I'm good.
Yeah.
Which is weird to give a movie that we all went yay. Yeah. Only 2 badges, but sometimes that's how the cookie crumbles, I guess.
I have a question. I guess mostly for Brian, if you know. I only noticed because Nick and I watched 1 and 6 back to back, but I don't know the name of the song, but it's an older song, the whole Red Right Hand thing.
Yeah.
Is that in a lot of the movies or did this just come back?
Yeah, no, that was a callback to...
Okay, cool.
This is one of the things I didn't point out, but yeah, I really enjoyed that callback, especially right before the rules.
Yeah, because they played it twice in this. Yeah, at the end,
Yeah. Yeah, as soon as I started playing.
So bad at paying attention to music cues in movies, which is fucking funny because kind of into music. It's sort of a thing. I don't pay attention. Every time we talk about something having a great score or a really good soundtrack, I'm sure. When we're watching the movie, 45 minutes after, or I guess it was technically the next day, but watching Scream 6 very nearly after Scream 1, as soon as that song came on, I'm like, oh my God, this is in the last movie. It was? I didn't catch it. And then it came on again later in the movie and I still didn't catch it. I don't know. It is a shortcoming for me. I cannot pay attention to that. Apparently, I can't watch something and listen at the same time.
I mean, sometimes they also go really quick. I think there was a Billie Eilish song in this new one, and it was literally on for 10 seconds, maybe 15 seconds. It's all right.
That was toward the end of the movie, right?
I guess so. Back half, maybe. Can't really remember.
What was that opening song? That sounded like Mike Shinoda.
I don't know. I don't remember.
The song when they were zooming in on the city, they're doing the whole thing. It was after the cold open.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I clearly don't know either, but it's not on the soundtrack. So the soundtrack. Oh, there's a Demi Lovato song apparently in this movie. I'm looking at Apple Music right now.
I think it's cool that they still use the same font for like the credits and stuff from the first one. But, so, all right. Well, Scream 6 is going to get merit badges for successful sequel and blood and gore. So that'll do it. That'll wrap up episode number 99, if you can believe it. Thanks for joining us again.
It's crazy.
If you were watching us on youtube.com/@horrorscouts, comment, like, subscribe, do all that stuff, whatever you feel like doing. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're listening on a podcast service, go ahead and give us a review if you have a minute or two. That'd be great. If you want to follow us on Instagram or Twitter, we're at @horror_scouts. And as I mentioned earlier, we have a Discord. The link is in the description. So come chat with us there, or check out the long list of new trailers. Every time new trailers come out, I make sure to try and post them over there. So that'll do it. We'll see everybody next time for what we like to call a campfire chat. Campfire. No, I think we called him talk.
I thought it was a chat.
Really? Chat. I thought there was alliteration. Because wasn't it a play on like a fireside chat, which was like the whole FDR thing from back in the day?
Yeah. Hey, guess what, everybody? You're going to get a few extra moments with us.
Cool. And while you do that, I'm going to shout out a quick plug and say, since we're doing whatever that campfire thing is next episode, if you are a member of our Discord, feel free to pop in over there in our general tab and ask any questions of something you might want us to talk about, horror or otherwise. And we'll try to tackle it on the next episode.
And
as usual, the link is down below.
I'll answer my own question. And Mike, so yes, there was a Billie Eilish song. And yes, that was Mike Shinoda in the opening song with the song called In My Head.
Well done. Didn't catch either of them.
How do you not hear their songs with lyrics and there's nothing else happening on screen?
Yes, there is. They're zooming around the city. I have to look at the pretty pictures, Brian. I'm aware of the fact that there's music there, but like if it's not integral to the plot, I don't catch it.
It was talk. We called them talks. Campfire talks.
Huh.
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, I'm wrong.
It's weird 2 out of 3 of us were wrong.
Hey, man, this is Horror Scouts 2.0. Yeah. We can change it. We can do whatever we want.
I'm having s'mores next week while we do this.
Oh, nice.
I might sit at a campfire.
Oh, yeah. Can I do this from my iPad my fire pit outside?
Here's some terrible audio and very dark video for everybody.
Sit in my phone.
All lit a fire. Do you like the s'mores idea, though? That's fun.
All right, everybody.
It makes for great audio. People love it when you eat on camera. There's a whole subsection of people that really love that.
Well, between now and then, we will figure it out. Thank you again for listening and checking out the show. We'll see everybody next time. Bye.
Bye.